Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
So I
Hey!
think one of the things we wanted to talk about was Sephiroth. Did you want to give everyone an update on the tournament guns and systems you've been working on?
Yeah, I'm working on tournament systems for literally everyone to use and on the next weekend for testing purposes. You will get a pretty much prepared tournament gear that is pretty familiar for most of the people and pretty straightforward things. You will be able to pick one of different combinations to use them on field. For example, we prepared you for your rifle. We prepared you a combination of SMG and melee weapon, and of course, we prepared something to someone who likes big explosions. You will get a pretty interesting way of doing combat. You can make teams that will be fielded on the field in certain numbers. Right now, number is set for 7 people per team. One team can deploy any combination of weapons, but any team can have only one tank if they want to use it instead of in place of 4 people. So
Okay.
basically, if you want to use a tank, that will be 100 HP only tank, LB light, so it will not dominate the field. But if you want to use it in your tactics, you will have option to use it.
Okay. And you have a note card for all this? Or you will
Uh,
have a note card for all this?
Yeah, we will have a note card, and I
Okay.
think tomorrow, yeah, I will kind of
Kenny made a
compile
Google Doc.
it.
Okay, cool. There needs to be an in-world note card.
Yeah,
too,
I
just
also
so we
made
can
an
do that.
in-world note card with what I was asking Sephiroth for and a very, very, very rough idea of the rules. So
All right.
it's all
On
right.
the subject of LBA, sorry, I don't mean to like derail things, but I have to say it before it slips my mind because I'm doing a lot of things at the moment. So the LBA black box gives you instructions. Please follow the instructions on the LBA black box. Dread distributed the 1.4 black box. Please remember that if you remove the black box from your region, also remove the black box key from the region description or the land description in your About Land tab. The reason why the key is there is to let all the LBA hitboxes know which black box to communicate with. The black box is not required for LBA. If you are afraid the black box will fuck up, don't put one down. It's unnecessary. The
You
end.
fixed that in Melopolis.
Yes, we also fixed that in New Jersey because Billard put the black box key in and then returned his black box, and so nobody's LBA was responding to the black box. But it's one of those things where it's kind of an oversight. Please pay attention to the instructions the owner says and things like that. 2 things that people are handing out. This includes things that Coercion's handing out, things that Chaos is handing out, things that AN's handing out. We try to provide clear documentation on how objects work so that things like this don't happen. And occasionally they do happen, and it's very frustrating as everyone sits around and smashes their head into a wall trying to figure out what went wrong. That's all I had to say about the black boxes. The current black box version is 1.4. I think we're going to be adding an auto updater script into 1.4.1 afterwards so that you get handed the correct one or something of that nature.
At the risk of sounding like a huge fucking dipshit, what is the black box?
The black box is a shared server network for if people are known to be griefing LBA, and I mean like outright griefing it, like trying to insta-kill fleet ships and things like that, it will flag their key on a SQL database. Currently, the black box database is completely empty, which means that you have to do something extraordinarily stupid to get put on the thing. Because
I also believe it has like a 3-strike thing or something.
It's 5.
Okay, yeah, it's a 5-strike
5.
policy. If you overload it 5 times, then it actually adds you. The only piece of gear that I'm aware of that actually triggers the black box that is distributed is Coercion's Typhoon grenades.
Yeah, because I was attacking them yesterday. And
that is why your tank did not take damage in that raid. It's because they triggered the black box.
Yeah.
And I let Adonis know. Hopefully he fixes it. And as far as I know, based on their notices, it is on the agenda of things to update.
Yeah, it sounded like he was fully aware of it. He was trying to get to it, which is good.
Yeah. Also, I apologize
but
for noise in the background. I do have my vent running right now.
you're actually fine. Nobody can hear it.
Okay,
I
cool.
want to reiterate. The black box is not required for LBA to work. It is an extra administrative measure so that people cannot be dickheads to you in your sim.
Yep.
But to put things into perspective, even Design Clarity has not gotten themselves blacklisted.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Unrelated.
Okay.
As far as the there's several questions I want to bring up just really quickly because they don't really matter about the Project Genesis group itself. First of all, we've decided that we're going to
Gilbert Gangbang!
We've decided that we're going to represent all armies that declare themselves on the SLMC. But I wanted like a real quick definition, if anybody could give me one, about what classifies a group as an army. Is an army anything that has land? Probably not. With the people in here, is an army?
Okay. My definition would just be a group of people that have a group and they have their own gear that they are distributing. I don't think that they necessarily need to own land. There used to be groups that operated just out of Jesse and New Jesse. You know, some groups didn't own land at all. So
Okay.
Yeah,
I figured I'd ask because there was somebody who came to me yesterday and was like, I want to be a representative in Project Genesis. And I was like, do you have a group? And they were like, my new group name is Suck My Ballsack. I was like, do you have people in your group? And they're like, yeah, like 5. And I was like,
Hey, that's a
shit, do I have to let
legitimate
them in?
We had the
Yeah.
Don't Ban Me Please group.
yeah, please don't
Yeah,
ban my
that-
group. Had like
Yeah.
5
That's
people.
my old little Schindler group. I mean, for me to define
And Weenie
a
Hut
group,
Jr.
for me to define a group, they need to have at least some form of a base. It doesn't even have to be a sim, something like Cadet said, maybe New Jesse, and have some presence. If it's just like 2 people running around, I really can't consider that a group. It would just be a couple of friends dicking off.
Yeah. But I think that we need to
Motorcycle clubs or groups.
Motorcycle clubs or groups too.
They have
we need to
damage
give
on
them
them.
I don't
some.
think we really need a hard and fast rubric for what constitutes a group because I think we'll know one when we see one.
Exactly. I also think
like
that
I
if
think it's
go
more
ahead.
like 5 or plus people in a group. They have gear, and they don't necessarily have to have land as long as they're raiding other militaries. And maybe they're in the process of getting land. I think it's 5 or plus people who are grouped up at all times.
All right,
think that if-
that's a good enough definition for me.
if they approach us about joining the like having representation on Genesis as well, I think that they should be allowed to have some representation. Because if we make this like an exclusive club, like what had been happening in the past between groups and things like that, then it creates an alienation between all the groups, and then that's very counterintuitive to what we're trying to do here.
And just really quickly because I didn't mean for this to be a big thing. On the Project Genesis group in Second Life, I had a concern that, of course, now, and congratulations, everybody, we now have 2 representatives from every single group that exists on the SLMC. But of course, once everybody joined, there's, of course, ship posting in the Second Life within group chat. For me, there's a little bit of a concern. I think everybody's aware that nothing really matters unless it's said in one of these meetings. But for me, there's a little bit of a concern that people might associate the shit posting from participants as Project Genesis. So do you think that we should turn off group chat and just
Yes.
leave that to the
Yeah.
fray? Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna
So-
make another note about that too. Is that if you're gonna make a notice, it needs to be related to your sim or group only. If it's just more, look how big my penis is. Oh, SH makes me feel bad. Whatever the fuck it is.
We know what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I'm not gonna say names.
We know, we
but
know
I
what
will-
you're
I kind of
Raven,
noticed that
please don't
someone
shit
tried
post.
turning the group
Raven
into
Ison.
some people turning the group into a cry on my shoulder, please, is stupid. If you
Yeah.
have an issue with the group and you have proof of like some serious shit going down, there's a Discord right here. You can post your images, post your video, do whatever
Yeah.
the fuck you want, but don't make the internal group like that.
Yep.
What
I
is
think
docs?
Yeah, I swear to God, Dark, I will drive to Vegas.
I'll come with you.
Bro,
I got
come
this
here.
money. Let's do this, man.
Count me in.
That just sounds fun, to be honest.
I'm gonna fuck you in the
Okay,
ass.
well then, but we should leave, the administrators to make notices, correct?
Yes, but we need
Okay.
to be a little bit more.
But they need to be notices that are pertinent to the SLMC, like, hey, we just made a new group.
Yeah.
for instance.
Or here's a new piece of technology to disperse to newer people, or some sort
Sure.
of more.
Yeah.
Dude,
all right.
it's easy.
It-
All the new groups will contact me and say, "Hi, I have new group. Please give notice rights for free," and then I'll give them, and then you'll know they're a group.
Yeah. So the thing is that the Genesis isn't here to settle petty disputes of
At all.
who's doing what. It's to settle large disputes that affect the whole community. If it's a small thing that's between two groups, those two groups are expected to act like fucking adults and handle it.
Or
they can't do
or
that.
smash each other's faces in on their own Sims. Who the
yeah,
fuck?
I mean that's something I pointed out yesterday.
Or they
I
can
told
argue on
everybody,
Friday.
like I
Exactly.
in no way want to de-escalate hatred between groups. I still hope that everyone in coercion falls on a box of Legos, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to make the SLMC better. And that's something I say before. Like, I think that Project Genesis can continue to exist, if only because the representatives are people who have authority in their groups. And if you have a group and you have authority in your group, you have a vested interest in making the SLMC, habitable.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hate that fucking Kobe guy. Fucking gays.
I don't like him either. I wish his
Yeah.
apartment actually did catch on
I
fire.
hate gays.
I
I hope all gays die in hell.
I hope fucking Nicole Zarko eats a fucking frag grenade, but eh.
Which is
I
Yeah.
Please.
Helps a lot.
Yes.
Can we not
Thank
do
you.
that?
That
Yes.
was really
okay,
well
okay.
timed, though.
Yeah,
it was. It was fantastic. So yeah, and I think in order to like keep on mutual respect, we should not harp on in any way like specific, groups shit. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, Hadet, all your scripts are fucking fuck you. And
Oh,
it should-
I mean,
it should-
if we're dealing with another either coercion, whatever anti-tank rifle they just made, or AN mono bullets, that's a big enough topic for all of us to discuss and
Yeah.
deliberate
Well,
on how to fix.
pleasantly, not
Yeah.
just.
Raven
I mean,
Eisen
Pleasant is
will
we're
be
gonna
my
get.
waifu.
Because the second
So-
that we start just screaming at each other, people are not going to want to participate. And
it
if
devolves
people
into,
exactly,
So
it just falls
earlier-
apart.
Yeah.
So
agree.
earlier, somebody said something about if a group member is not able to do LBA to talk to Header Jed. So what are you like distributing LBA or?
Yeah, we distribute the LBA starter kit. You can also get one in New Jersey as well. You could. We had a problem in New Jersey.
Well, when I
I'll-
said that,
I need the kit so that I can start making LBA weapons. We have no LBA.
all right, yeah, no worries. Just don't be stupid.
well, you don't have to, but
Cindy and I
we
am.
appreciate you being willing to
Alright.
adopt the system.
Yeah.
Also, before I forget, one more note about the Project Genesis group in Second Life. That's basically there to give people updates on when the meetings are going to be and information about the meetings and that sort of thing.
I can't post nudes in it.
Not anymore.
Once a
Dude,
week.
But what I was going to say is,
Kenny's cock.
if you have notice rights in your own group, please give the link to your own group, because I'm kind of sick of people bitching
Yeah.
like, oh, I didn't know the stream was there. I wanted to watch and participate, talk to whoever, put up my grievances with my representative. Like, nobody can say that if everybody knows. So yeah, if you can just post about Project Genesis in your own group and be like, hey, etc. As well as, as we mentioned before about Proteus, Project Genesis is what it is. I stated what it is earlier, but once again, we don't need we have anybody thinking that it's any sort of alliance or tribunal or whatever.
No.
When there's a chance, I'd like to have the floor for a moment, please.
When
Go
do you
for it.
not want the floor, Raven?
I've been very patient so far.
Yeah.
And
Get on the
I
floor.
apologize for my outbursts earlier.
Open the door.
Get on.
Everybody walk the dinosaur.
Okay, ready? Well, I have three things
needs
I'd
to
like
be
to
a
talk
dish.
about. First of all, when you get a chance, I'd like to know more about that black box and that system and how I would be able to get one of those.
Send Cadet Son and Kern and I am right now, and I will hand you everything you need.
Okay,
And
perfect. Thanks.
documentation and all the scripts, like with comments and everything like that, to explain how everything works. If you have any issues from then on, you can talk to Dred Hudson, who's the creator of all the scripts, and he can
Mhm.
help you out. He's more than willing to help people out that are willing to adopt the system, because the system stops physics lag, and that's why we made it.
It's like a
Good.
video game.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm interested in seeing how that works. Yeah. And the other thing was, well, I'm not sure if this is the right format or the right time and place or how this is going to be, but recently I posted a video of some events occurring at someone's sim that were, pretty griefy, nuking and spawn killing and using things that they are not supposed to use because they said we weren't supposed to use them, but stuff like that, just basically just OP and stuff like shit like that. So I don't know, what do we do about that?
Oh, let me
Yeah.
ask you. Let me make this point, Raven, because I know this is becoming a thing. Is
Uh-huh.
it something that you can administrate at your own sim?
No, it's well, I mean, by banning this or
Okay, no,
blockading
is
the
it
army,
something?
but
Okay,
I mean, I can't do anything about what they do in their sim. We attacked them and they killed us with nukes and
okay, then you can
did all
just
that
not
stuff.
go there. I mean, again, this isn't really a Genesis
Tribunal.
problem. This is not
But okay, so let
stop
me just
nuking
come out.
them.
It's like
Hey,
Let him
it's
talk.
Silverhawk.
Let
I'm
him
not
talk.
seeing a representative here.
Yeah, I'm not sure where
Raven,
Silverhawk
we are
is.
not
Okay.
going to administrate other groups. This
Oh,
group
wait.
was
we want to
created
make that.
just
Yeah.
Yeah, hang on. Let him talk for a minute. So,
Yeah, so I don't see Silverhawk here to represent themselves, but that was actually the people that did it. So, but are they part of this group? Because if
I
they
would
They
like
are,
to defend
Everyone
Raven.
is.
you would like to have somebody mediate that is an intermediary that isn't in both groups. I or Tyro or anybody else here could step in and try to smooth things over so that you guys don't just have nuke and grief wars with each other, because that is part of why Genesis is here.
yeah. Well, let me
but
tell you this much: it's a
I
one-way
would like
nuke
to say something
situation.
in
We don't
defense
nuke
of Raven.
them. Okay.
Okay.
To be fair, and I've actually mentioned this yesterday, I mean, if you go with the whole approach of, well, we'll just not go to their sim, and everyone just equally does that, which is what we were doing around the times when Mercs and Ordo were around, then
Yeah.
that really just, I mean, honestly, if you want to go through that approach, it not only stagnates combat, but it kind of like defeats the entire purpose around having community.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
that's
saying I'm not saying I'm not saying we should be like Mercs and Ordo and just blockade everybody. I'm just saying there's try to create like maybe a better alternative than
Actually
going
having
with the
conversations
we're just not
with people.
going there
Yeah.
routine.
Well,
Yeah,
I agree with you on
I
that,
agree
and
with
that's
you
honestly the
100%.
mentality I've had for quite some
Yeah.
time with certain groups.
Otherwise,
that-
we might as well just not have a community and just go back to 2007, which was more fun.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, it's
Can we
the
just make
difference.
Kingred now?
It's the oh my god,
It's
please.
not what we're
Alright,
doing.
let
him
now,
talk.
bro.
I mean, it's what you're talking about. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's the difference between what we can do and what we should do. And if we could absolutely administrate and talk and hold everybody's hand through everything, I think we would. But the problem is we can't. It's not that we don't want to. It's that I don't think we have the time to administrate every single thing.
I'm not asking
I
for
think-
hand holding. I'm saying what I'm asking is, where does this lie in our rule set for this group, and how? I
We
mean,
don't
is this
have
the
one.
right format?
Let me tell you, Silver Ravens and Hawk Raiders, if you would like Cadet said, if you would like someone to mediate who is willing to listen to both sides, I am willing to help, as I sort of did last night, but not really.
Thank you,
I
Saint
think
Tyro.
I think that's fair.
And just to let you
People
know,
can
both.
bring it up.
Well,
I was gonna say both.
that's
me
not
and
you guys.
dignitaries.
Okay, so let me rephrase my question. So if I have a complaint about, or if I have some evidence and there's some kind of infraction or issue, or somebody did something, is this the form? This is the place to bring it to tell?
This is not a war
about
These-
it?
Not really.
And if
Okay,
it's
hang on.
something
Let
regarding
me
your
specify what should be brought up here.
That's what I'm asking.
Okay, yeah, I will specify. If somebody copy botted something, if somebody crashed your sim, or something like that, which I'm aware of last night, and that is being handled after
Deli
this.
Nair did it just yesterday to us.
That was not Deli. I
He
know.
said it was.
Okay. Well,
He was trolling.
well,
Deli did
yeah.
nothing wrong.
Okay, that was not Deli. I
No.
know who was crashing your sim. They're in my group.
Oh, and they crashed us when coercion was there too.
Yes,
Yeah,
I know.
it's
I know.
not- it's not Deli.
I'm handling it. I promise.
Okay, well, there was Deli Nair did it before that happened.
No,
and then
the
this
BZ did
happened the second time. We got crashed yesterday twice.
Yeah, I'm fully aware of what was going on because I was not home and I got a bunch of messages on my phone about it.
Tell
It's
SH to get
being
in here.
handled, and I will let you know what's going on.
You know what our response to that was?
What's
Just
that?
nothing. We didn't nuke anybody or crash anybody or go attack
That's how it should
anybody
be.
or
To-
that. We
okay,
did
to-
kick Delinair's ass.
To restate what we were saying earlier, I think you're correct. I think if you have issues with another group and you have found that on a personal level you cannot figure it out with that other group one-on-one, then you can bring it up here and somebody can volunteer to mediate. Well, it's not necessarily this group's problem. You can come to this group for help, and individuals in this group.
So there's an option
will,
there. Otherwise, the top list of things, if you want to reiterate that for me, because I think
Oh yeah,
let me
just
start
get that
over.
out. Yeah, and no interruptions, please, guys. Okay, the list of things that I am aware of, I do not think they have changed because no one has told me they have changed. Copy botting, crashing, doxing, and anything that violates the terms of service that isn't shooting at each other is something that concerns this group because that damages our community. Now, we've clearly defined what doxing is. I can highlight the video portion of that from the meeting before last. We've clearly defined what copybotting is, and I will make a video on how to catch people if you suspect them of copybotting, what things to look for in their models or textures and things like that later on. But if those things did not happen, it isn't a problem for Genesis, but Genesis also exists so that we as a community can communicate. However,
and help each other, right?
Yeah, exactly. Communication needs to start from a standpoint of non-hostility. If the communication is going to be hostile, it needs to be taken to a different group like the War Tribunal or the Fray or something like that. But I very much encourage people to just talk to each other. I've been very against talking to some of the people in this group, and I've been talking to them lately. And I do know we're all here to shoot at each other, you know? And so we all have a common interest in mind that, you know, if we fuck this up, we don't have anybody to shoot at anymore. So that's kind of my thing.
Now you mentioned crashing. Okay, now that's happened twice yesterday to us.
Yeah.
And the perpetrators, once was a self-admitted perpetrator. That was Delinair. He said he did it, and he was like, "That's what you get, Raven." Blah 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 blah. Well, you know what? You did what you did. It's a standalone. Put it on the table. It's crashing the sim. Period. I don't care what your justifications are. Crashing a sim.
Sim crashing.
Okay, so he admitted it and did it. I estate banned him, so he didn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Then we kicked his ass in New Jersey. That's another story. But anyway, so then it happened again when coercion came, and we were kind of unsure. It was a spunky husky person that did it, and we were unsure if it was retaliation
Raven,
from somebody. We don't know.
I hate to interrupt, but before you continue on, what Hadet was saying earlier is that we already know about it. We know who was doing it, and it's
tell
already
me
being
then.
handled.
I don't care. I'm part of this group. I need to have this information. I want the information. It's fair. If I'm part of this group and it's a level table and we're transparent, I need all the information also.
I would like to bring up an issue that I have.
If there's some kind of secret committee that's talking about things that no one else can know about,
No.
out.
I had to do some research to make sure that it was who I thought it was. And that's why I told you that it's Wyatt. Wyatt was crashing.
Okay,
Wyatt
that's
and
what
the
Adonis
That's
said.
what I was saying. Yeah, Raven.
Well, I want to know for sure, and when I want people to be talking about things about
as
shit's
for
going on
the
with my
BZ
army, and I don't know what's going on, and I'm supposed to be part of the group.
Yeah. As for BZ crashing your sim, unfortunately, there's not a lot I can do to recommend alleviating that because BZ has a bajillion alts, and that's just what he does. Eventually, he'll get bored and stop crashing your sim.
Excuse me, but as the representative of PSC, I would like to say that my intelligence reports say that Wyatt did not do anything wrong.
I don't care what your intelligence.
And he is currently in asylum in RSM. We have him holding an asylum, and Chaos is trying to diplomatically.
Nobody fucking wants
it.
Chaos is trying to levy sanctions against us for harboring a spy.
Wait, with all seriousness, is Wyatt now in Dark's group?
Yes.
You don't know that.
Oh, nice.
Did we actually kick him out, or?
I haven't.
We're going to speak with him after him. Jacob,
I mean,
Ricky,
he may be watching the stream, so this could be kind of
so here
awkward.
we got Deli,
we
got Wyatt, and they both struck out once each. Okay, is that what that counts? You got 4 more times.
I don't know if Deli.
How does that work?
Okay, hang on.
We're not.
How does it work?
Yeah, that's I don't know
Can I speak on that real
anything
quick?
about Delhi crashing your sim. All I know is that Adonis presented me with evidence that Wyatt was there crashing the sim while coercion was raiding, and I'm handling that part because Wyatt's in my group. Delhi is not in my group. I have no control over what Delhi does.
Okay, so what I'm asking is, what as this group, what is the punishment for somebody that hits one of those high marks?
Let me handle this real quick. So basically, and this is something I want to keep telling people, we're not a tribunal. This group itself is not its own entity. This group itself is a bunch of people coming together. So we cannot, unfortunately, force anybody to do anything because we don't have that authority. Everything that's done here is done by willing participants, and there is no obligation. So to answer your question, if somebody comes to us and says this person, BZ, for instance, we'll use her as an example, or him, is crashing sims. We talk about it and we all agree, okay, crashing is not a good thing. And the person who is the representative, who is hopefully either the leader or a high officer in the group, handles the situation in that group. I mean, does that make any sense?
So what authority do we have? None. Then.
What it boils down to is that we, as a community, as the Genesis, will start talking to each other. If Wyatt, let's say, for instance, keeps crashing people's sims, more and more people are going to end up banning him permanently for doing that.
We decide things based on giving suggestions to people and agreeing with each other. We don't force people to agree.
At the end of the day, if we tried to force somebody to agree, not only are they not going to listen to us, but it's going to cause fractures in the community.
No one's asking anybody to force anybody to do anything. I'm on board with everybody agreeing before we do anything. But what I'm asking is, can we? So we have we have Wyatt. He did this, and we all agree that it's one of those high mark things that we all have to think about. It's like doxing and copy botting and crashing people's sims. Okay, so if we have those things as infractions that we just talk about them and tell the individual armies to handle themselves. Well, is it because of a group that we all kind of peer pressure? That kind of
nobody peer pressures. It's under the assumption that the person who's in charge.
I think as far as that jurisdiction goes, it's within the confines of your own sim. You can bring it up for discussion with everyone else.
We can
in the
do
group,
that anyway. So what's the point?
The guarantee that people are going to agree with you is it's random.
Okay, so if we say if half of us say, okay, we're gonna just agree to blanket ban Wyatt. Let me finish for example, and other half says, well, we don't really want to do that. That's fine. What if I say how many people, because what Wyatt did? Let me just ask this question. Wyatt did what he did yesterday. He crashed our sim and ruined the combat, and he's quite well known for doing it. Not the first time. He's got $1 million. Everybody knows. Okay, so this guy's trouble. He's done it before. He'll do it again. How many people say we're going to estate ban him right now and join the Raven Raiders with an estate ban? How many people are going to ban Wyatt and everyone?
That would entirely be an effort. That would entirely be an effort on your part and not on the part of Genesis.
Hang on a second.
No, I'm asking as a group because it's a communication arena. I'm asking all of you people. Who's going to ban Wyatt because of what he did?
I'm not banning Wyatt.
Hang on, just a second.
I don't give a fuck.
Guys, how about we get one person to talk at a time?
Yeah,
Guys,
let's do that.
I have something to say though that kind of is in support of Raven. Now what if we take it? Let's take the situation and take it away from Wyatt crashing Raven Raider sim. Let's look at someone who's a copy botter, for instance. What if they're friends with someone in another group, so that group decides not to ban them and is harboring them? Then what?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, hang on. Let me interject here, and
like
we're gonna.
Fucking dog sleep
that's a legitimate concern.
Let me talk.
Oh,
I just sat back down. All right. Let me use Takoya as an example here. Villani has crashed my sim 27 times.
Is that all? God, he's way behind the curve with me.
Yeah.
You are.
And Villani is currently not banned from my sim.
Okay.
He's not banned from my sim either. We actually had a talk and we worked things out. Can Wyatt?
Raven, can you let the guy talk?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let him talk.
I'm sorry. I'm just fucking
Service
having a shit right here because this is bullshit.
Service is the only member from Decoy that is banned from my sim. and I believe that services ban will be up for dispute again soon on our forums. We did a vote. The thing is that, yes, Wyatt was crashing Sims, and if it's going to be a regular occurrence, then I will ban him. But I'll have to talk to Jacob, Ricky, and Sarah about it too. But currently, I only have this report of him crashing this one sim, and so
we need some solidarity here.
I'm just
solidarity
asking
in this
this
community. We need to back each other
well,
up.
hang on, I'm
These
just asking
assholes
this.
are doing this, and we need to back each other up and say, "Hey,
Okay.
enough is enough." And we lay down the message, and we say, "Look, this is what happens to you when you do that." We all stand together, and we say no. And
Okay, hang on a second. I'm just
everybody's got a special
Raven, shut up.
Bullshit.
All right,
Stand together, motherfuckers, or
Hang
fucking
on.
end
shut
it.
the fuck up.
Please. Okay, I'm just asking this as a hypothetical because I remember we brought it up before about like copy botters and people who are doing some really nasty shit about removing them as a whole and basically not allowing them to participate in the community and therefore harm the community. So I was just asking for clarification on.
No, and I understand that, and I agree with Raven to a certain degree too. But like I said, this is one instance that I've currently heard
that's
about.
completely understandable. That is completely understandable.
I want to speak overall because I stated this before, but I don't think I stated it clearly. So I'm going to restate it once again. Raven, I understand that you want us to all stand in solidarity, but unfortunately, I mean, here's the thing: that might happen. It's all about the wording here. We cannot tell everyone you have to stand in solidarity. Number one, because that builds resentment. If we say you have to stand with us or else you're out of the group. No, the group doesn't exist as a collective. We're not the UN. This is just a place for everybody to communicate.
Yeah, we're the EU.
Voluntary solidarity because we believe in the same thing.
Okay, well,
we want the
Raven,
same thing. We have the same
please
goal.
let me finish. What I'm trying to say is
not because we're
that
forcing anybody. You're not hitting the point on the head right here.
Please let me finish. Please let me finish. What you're talking about is what we're doing. If, for instance, if Wyatt shows up and Wyatt's causing grief over all the Sims, then we can ask everybody, hey, do you want to stand up and ban everybody? And if you want to request that everybody do that, you can do that. And perhaps everybody can stand together and go, okay, we're going to ban Wyatt. The point is the wording here. We cannot force anybody just because they're part of this group. We cannot pressure them to ban somebody. We cannot cause, mass blockades or whatever, because that's a slippery slope into
Nobody
us.
said that. I'm not saying
Well,
that.
here's the issue though. Like when you just like sensationalize the situation and you ask everybody to rise up and stand together, the issue is that the groups that are unsure because they've only heard about this happening once, are then there a schism is placed between them and the people that are like, well, this is the only, I'm done with this shit. But for some people, this hasn't affected them
At all, or it's just only
at
once.
all, or
right. I understand that. I understand that.
So, and the big thing is just, when somebody crashes your sim, I do think that it's reasonable to ban them. And I also think that it's reasonable to make the community aware that this person's out there crashing sims. And then they can keep an eye on the person and see what they're doing when the person's in their sim, if they don't just decide to outright ban them for crashing someone else's sim, But the thing is, I also believe that people, they fuck up every once in a while and do stupid shit. And we can't damn someone forever over a single mistake. The issue here why it's the example right now for us in Chaos is this was his last chance, and so for us, we're pretty irritated with him as well. But with this being the first case of crashing that we've heard about him doing, then for us it's like, okay, well, he's ejected because it makes especially Ricky and I, who have been here. I've been here since the second meeting. Ricky and Tyro were here for the first meeting. With Van being, I don't exactly know how we were represented before I was requested to show up, but it makes Ricky and I look like hypocrites when we're quite outspoken here. So for Ricky and I, it is very frustrating for us, and that's why Wyatt is being ejected from chaos. It's just a matter of when Jacob gets on to give the final approval. The vote's already been cast. We just want Jacob around to know that we made a decision. That's how things on our end when things like this happen are going to be handled. Because we can't approach the community in this platform and then have one of our own members going and jeopardizing everything that we talked about. And I think that if this is a continual problem and it doesn't stop here with Wyatt or Deli or anyone, for example, then yeah, the awareness needs to be raised about it.
I think that as well as awareness, I think that a lot of the time this kind of stuff just should be discouraged in general, just because it happens. I don't think banning specific people or introducing ideas to just ban people who cause problems for one military another is the right way either. But it would be a good idea to introduce perhaps certain initiatives to perhaps more harshly condone the idea of griefing a sim.
Exactly. I think that having this platform to communicate as groups does create a level of accountability on a group level.
Create the snowball effect.
Yeah.
If you crash Raven Raiders and you run off and go crash Valex, well, they're gonna say this guy did this too.
Yeah, well, a lot of times we never heard about it. There was a lot of shit that went on between elevated the hatred between New Rome and Coercion, and I think there was a night, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Adonis, where we kind of sat down and we shared some information, and the leaders of the group actually had no idea. We had no idea what was going on. So that's why Project Genesis exists. So we can communicate on an equal level with equal footing. We cannot force anybody. You can talk to them, but this is here for communication.
And
at
like
the
I
end of the
said,
day.
Ask a question. Can I ask?
Oh, go ahead.
Question?
Go ahead.
Okay, so it was stated before that if this person's going around and he's crashing or copy botting or whatever they do on the higher level bad thing, they're doing it to everybody, right? So everybody's got a whiff of it and everybody's having some experiences that are bad. And it's always the same person. So we all know, and it's easier to gather solidarity there because everybody's having the same experience. But what if one person that we all know is simply bullying the fucking hell out of one army and no one else is aware of it? And then that army brings it to the council here, and they say, this guy just every day falls around, crashes our sims, does this and that, blah blah blah.
That kind of brings me to something I wanted to mention.
Everybody else is like, well, he doesn't do it to us. Well, why? How could we ban him when And besides, he's our friend, and something like that. How do we handle? How does that bullied army use this forum for any kind of help?
Well, I think that if you communicate that hang on, Tyro, sorry. You communicate that this person's going around and sabotaging basically any form of combat that you're trying to have, people are going to be aware of it. You just need to provide them with the evidence that it's happening, the name of the account, the name of the alternate accounts that are being used. And the thing about people that crash sims is they're very obvious, especially when they're emotionally crashing the sim because they're angry about something.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's what'll happen. They'll crash the sim and then they'll show up and crash the sim again on a different account or the same account or things like that. And it's generally somebody that has gotten pissed off or disillusioned with the people that own the sim at some point in the near past of the events that are happening. So it's usually pretty easy to figure out who's crashing SLMC sims. With our sim, it's not, because we get crashed by random furries all the time too. But generally, it's SLMC related, and some furry told some other furry to crash our sim, and it happens on occasion. We usually get to the bottom of it and figure out who did what.
Why are furries so against you?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I hate Adet so much. Oh my god.
All right, Tyro. Tyro.
Yeah, sorry, I was typing. So I think the big thing is we're trying to foster like transparency here. So the idea is yes, if that group is getting bullied, we're trying to create an environment where people's agenda, because like we've had this thing where we can't be honest with people or suspect that people are being honest with us from other groups, because we've had such a long history of like lying to each other to get ahead of another group, and it's always happened. Like every single group suspects the other group is lying or has an agenda.
Google a prisoner dilemma.
Right.
Yep, exactly.
So basically, if we create an environment here where like everything we say, at least we have the expectation that you're going to be honest with us with what you say here, and you're not trying to push an agenda, you just want to shoot people and have fun, and like, yeah, you're looking out for your group, but you're not looking out for your group in a selfish way. Like, so in your hypothetical situation, Raven, if a group is getting like just shit on and they're like, look, these are the people doing it, we're inclined to listen, but the strength of your ability to do something and get something done in this group or do something about certain people or another group is based on the strength of your argumentation, not based upon our own our ability to stand together.
I have something to say.
Okay.
So basically, as in concrete form, it is technically impossible to get someone banned for crashing your sim. They can always just go and make a new account and whatnot.
They'll be back in
Let's
30
say-
minutes.
Yeah. So let's say if all of these groups banded up and banned said person from their sims, what's going to stop them from getting onto another account and just keep doing it? They can keep going and going and going as long as they can make new emails.
Stamina. What really comes down to stamina. There's nothing in SL is concrete. Even bans. Even when I was banned from the CC, I was still able to go there.
Yeah,
because
somebody
SL
kept
ban.
hearing
No.
on
Let me explain. SL's ban system is broken in the sense that I could still enter the Sims even though I'm on the estate land.
Actually-
I never made alt to get around it.
Haven, about that. When I had to ban a bunch of the most of AN from Outer Heaven about a year ago, they were actually, for the most part, still able to enter the sim despite being estate banned. And I actually have screenshots of the guy standing in front of me
actually
and the
fixed
estate
that
list.
recently.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
pretty
God.
sure. Yeah.
Aren't they using those dark client
No.
hubs?
No.
You can't get around an estate ban with that anymore.
At the end of the day, I think what everybody's trying to say is that while we can't force anybody, because I cannot, unless Hadet has fucking telepathy powers that I don't know about, we cannot force somebody else to ban them, but we are relying, because we have this avenue of communication, you can present your argument, and our solidarity depends on how you present your argument.
Is the appropriate time to present some evidence or an argument or a situation that occurred?
You can whenever in this Discord. Just make sure you have some evidence showing that. If you're just gonna run in here and say, "Oh, so and so did this," I think they did this, like you were doing in the group the other day. That's why everyone got on your ass about
And not in these meetings, please.
I'm sorry. I
that too.
I was on a shit rant.
If you're on a shit rant, go take a poop.
I know.
play
I know.
something
I'm sorry. I
else.
apologize.
Nobody poop. Nobody
It's
gets
all
poop.
good, man.
I thought I was on the
poop that poop,
fray.
you poop
I'll
it
be
real
honest
good.
with you. I thought I was on the fray. I
Go on the fray.
Also, I have a quick
Well, all
question.
you guys are on the fray, and I just was like, oh, the same people.
I have
are
a
on the
stream
fray
question.
I forgot to look.
Can anyone see the stream
Well,
still?
I don't know what's going on with the stream.
Fray customer support is currently unavailable right now.
Okay, so that gets back to what I was saying earlier. We all have a vested interest in this community, especially those of us that are running groups or have money invested in the community. So I think that the level of solidarity there is that we don't want our money going to waste by
There
allowing
you go.
some jackass to fucking go around and fuck everything up for everybody else.
I can't believe I agree with you.
Yeah.
I know, it's
See,
weird.
this is the amazing part about this forum here, is that this is the first time I've ever talked to Hadet. First time ever. And you sound like a decent,
horrible, isn't
reasonable human being. Is like before that, I thought you were some
Why?
kind of a madman.
Honestly, I was expecting a 14-year-old furry girl for you, Raven. Considering
Well, I try, but
Yeah, but
Okay.
late at night, and you never know.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to
Picked that up
iterate
from
something.
talking, didn't you?
What's up,
Nicole?
All right. I would, like I said, like you said earlier, like I don't represent Genesis altogether and everything, but the idea that I would just want to get into, some people have to also realize that, no offense, Dark, this is not the fray. What happens in the fray and what happens here is two different stories. Like, we are here in this group to currently make sure that the community, as in
Or
the
so
SLMC
you think.
community, the SLMC community, where we can all agree on set basis and we can keep our community working smoothly and lively. Dark Spray is basically where we go and have a laugh, have a
Shitpost.
giggle, shitpost,
Yes.
or just listen to White Rent. One
It's
of
the
the two.
toilet of the SLMC.
The Fray is an
Yeah,
epitome of freedom to
The
speak.
Fray isn't exactly the place you get your information from.
Fray is a spectrum disorder. Let's just go with that.
The Fray is literally where all diplomacy in the SLMC happens.
Yeah, if you mean by happens, dissolves, yes.
Yeah.
Goes to die.
All right. Anyway, I
the
do want to
best
bring up
kind.
one topic. Vox Aaron, when the fuck are you opening your sim?
Really? Damn, it's been 2 years.
Seriously, I'm
Can I
not
open
I'm not
the
trying to
sim?
shitpost, but please let us know.
This is not the time
Yeah,
for
what do you-
asking questions like that.
Okay.
They never open their sim.
I know.
It's a teaser.
Ow, damn.
It's like blue balls over here, man.
I would like to know when is Vox Aaron going to answer for war crimes against Chaos during the Bloodfist War?
Too late. They will
No,
not open their sim. That's why they don't open their sim. That's the reason why, right?
They fear the Chaos.
That's
My
right.
answer-
They're scared.
My answer is going to be simply to be determined.
Who inherits those reparations?
good enough.
Indivism or PSC?
I do.
Oh, okay. Just
I
dark.
do personally
Solely
as a
dark.
person.
Do you guys need
Yeah.
some money or something? What's the fucking deal?
Are you offering free money?
Yeah, you want to pay for a sim?
I'll help somebody out if you need some help. I'm trying to
Really
make
not
this place grow too. I'm not giving away free money for
I have a
nothing.
legitimate issue that I would like to bring up.
Okay.
At the undeterminable time of 2 shots of vodka and 3 beers on the date of yesterday 17, Raven Eisen interrupted my squatting session in his sim, in his hub, by turning damage on and bombing the spawn.
It was a dead pack, man. You guys looked like you were hungry. I didn't want to.
Of course, my response to this was to Driblinka his entire sim, and I was then kicked out of his sim for responding to him.
It's okay. I let you.
I
back
want
in.
reparations for it.
And suddenly I'm craving ravioli.
I thought it was a picnic basket. You guys
Toasted
were.
ravioli.
I'm sorry. It turned out to be a
I've never had
box of
that.
debt pack. It's
Ravioli,
not my fault.
ravioli. Give me the
me
ravioli.
Wait,
Ravioli,
Raven.
ravioli, and my
Let's
lifeioli.
bring it back.
Wait, Raven.
Okay,
a
okay,
Toxin
okay,
Net
let's
pack.
go back.
You're still using our stuff.
Oh yeah, every now and then.
Alright,
We're
let's
the
get
Raven
back on
Raiders.
topic,
We use
people.
anything we get our.
Please
fucking
bring
hands
back
on.
Ugly Jungle Sim
You're
with Nuke.
jihadist?
Please
Yeah,
bring
I
back
want to
Ugly
ride
Jungle
your.
Sim
Yeah,
with
bring
Nuke.
that back. I want to ride your nuke into the sky again.
In order
Okay.
to
Actually,
properly
yeah,
bring
we do.
this
I'll give
conversation
it
back
to
to where
you.
it needs to be, I need to ask: does anybody actually have a point to present next?
Um,
Because that would be the
Firehawk
the
crashed
easiest
my
way.
sim.
Yeah, I
That would
think
be
we're
the easiest way
done.
to bring it back.
Sure.
I am me now. If you want the old.
We already
nuke.
done?
I do have
Yeah,
one thing.
Well,
Oh.
yeah, I actually I want to talk about the fact that we're already done. We
I
limit-
know. Wait. Speaking
Hang on,
of
there's
Proteus,
an issue,
we
actually.
do actually have an
Oh, it
issue
looks
that
like,
we
yeah,
need to
there's a
bring up.
couple things.
There's number one, specifically on Proteus. I think there was an issue where previously we had decided that we were going to kind of use New Jesse as a central hub for the combat community, so people can show there and basically learn what the community is and have a basic Babu's first book on how to shoot gun. But a lot of people felt like that was unfair because they feel like the New Jesse is not necessarily neutral. So Proteus has created a secondary sim called Brazil, and you can speak more on that. But I was basically going to say, I don't think anybody, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think anybody has any issue with having potentially 2 neutral hubs for people to go to, as long as they're both optimized for outsiders to find them, and they're both optimized so that when people get there, it shows you everything about the SLMC, and it is also non-partial.
I do want to bring that up actually.
More
I don't have a
maps.
problem with that either. Even though I when I started Genesis, New Jesse was the only neutral sim, and also has a long history of helping new players into the community.
Yeah.
I see no problem with multiple neutral sims running around.
Yeah.
The problem I have with Brazil is that it's pretty much AN's home base. So the first thing they get is AN, and I've seen that like when I first went there, their hub was nothing but AN propaganda, which diverts from the fact that it's supposed to be a neutral sim. If you're going to make a neutral sim, make it non-partial, like what Silva said, or don't do it at all.
Well,
I like that no one can pronounce
Proteus.
Sila, my bad.
Prodilla. I've got this one. I'm actually redoing the hub, or I'm going to be doing it today for Brazil. The Brazil assets that we were working with, like we had an idea in mind, and we were trying out a few things with it, especially with the design of the sim. We were originally going to base it off Castle Wars from RuneScape, and we realized that wasn't really working. Half the sim got returned by accident. We don't know who did it. So we went with something new. We went with Forest Sim. We're going to redo the hub to be a campground sort of thing, so it's going to be very neutral. We're going to use a bunch of assets. The reason it is and decorated is because we do all pay for the sim. It is Alliance Navy sim, but there is no being in Alliance Navy doesn't give you any benefits for fighting on Brazil. There's no, yeah, I could go set my home out on the field because I have the ability to do that in the land group, but no one else in AN can.
Yeah,
that's
I would
not
get
exactly my point about the topic. It's that it's okay. If it's going to be neutral, it doesn't need to be completely dominated by one group. Not in combat, but both in theme and recruitment.
Yeah.
New Jesse is trying to do a whole advertise for everybody. Every group is equally represented if they're going to be represented at all.
Anyone is welcome to come, and if they're like, oh hey, we want an advertisement from a group here, they're more than welcome to do that. I believe.
There's no AN propaganda. There's like one. We had an AN recruitment thing in the first hub, but that ended up going way over the prim count. Right now, we have just scoreboards, a spawner thing, and some LBA freebies, and that's literally it.
It is an AN hangar. It is an AN hangar, but that's gonna change.
You got to work with the assets you have too.
No, I agree with that. I'm not, as long as it's not like, hey guys, we're kind of doing a neutral sim, but really, you guys should join in.
Recruitment, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that you got to give them some time too. Like New Jesse's been back for months and months now. They just opened Brazil like last week.
We're still taking a lot of like things in from people that are fighting on it. We have 3 flags up right now plus the scoreboard. A lot of people are saying they don't like the trees. If you come to fight on our sim, all we've seen, I've caught a bunch of people that were blatantly, obviously, de-rendering trees. And we know, no, we've got really great trees. They're not.
No, you don't.
Our trees are pretty good, but
no, you don't.
Stop being trolled.
We'll update the trees. We'll update it as we go along. But please, if you are fighting on our sim, do not de-render the trees. We know people in the SLMC aren't a fan of trees, but they are there for a reason.
Okay, can I explain to you why your trees are bad?
Sure.
Okay, your trees are bad because they were not designed for combat. It means that their hitboxes were not fine-tuned for combat. It means that the texture resolution on the branches and transparency is not fine-tuned for combat. It means that you need to, let me finish. You need to set the branches. I haven't even seen the trees, and I know you're using those stupid fucking pine trees that have the moving leaves, or the ones that Raid used in the jungle build.
We're using
those are okay. Let me finish. Those are using 1024 alpha textures that are probably set to blend instead of mask, which means that you have overlapping alpha blending, which affects people's frame rates. If I went there and saw that, I would de-render the trees like I did in the last New Jesse build, because it fucks people's GPUs up. It has nothing to do with people's GPUs. It has to do with the way that Second Life handles alpha, which is very poorly, because alpha was tacked onto Second Life as like a band-aid that they threw onto it when they added PNG support. Okay. If you would like better trees, I have lots of them that I have made. I will hand them to you for free. But I really, really recommend not using marketplace trees, because I have specifically designed trees for combat that I give people when they ask. And I don't sell them.
Talk to Brian. Talk to Brian about the trees and so on. He's done a lot of the design for the sim, and I know he's meshing more stuff to put down in the sim. He's doing a lot of assets right now.
Yep, these are the trees that I was talking about.
Oh, is it?
Yep. Okay.
Cool.
I didn't mean to get on a content creator rant. And yeah, Raven, I'll pack all that stuff up for you and toss them to you later.
Yeah, would you mind tossing me that stuff too, Hadat?
Can you pass the whole grid that?
Why don't you send it? Hey,
just put it in the Project Genesis.
shit.
Just put it in, send it over Genesis.
Yeah.
I think
Actually, this is what Genesis is for. If it's benefiting the entire SLMC,
that's good.
use Genesis.
That's
for it.
actually that's a
Excellent.
good idea. Is to take assets that you've open sourced. Like I can box up the assets I open sourced in the past and send out over the fray, and I can actually send those out through the Project Genesis meeting, so Sims will have access to things and not have to buy them.
Appropriate use
if
of
anyone
Nemesis.
hasn't gotten them already, Bridget sent out a massive pack to open source as well.
Please, no one send Google boxes labeled as other things over Genesis. Just
Oh,
for
no
Fred.
problem. Oh, fuck, you got me. Damn it. No, but we are
yeah,
there's a lot of old projects and building kits that are really nice.
I encourage anybody if you have open source shit.
Lament over Frey.
If you have coercion, God damn it! If you have open source shit that you want to give to the entirety of the SLMC, box it up and do that. Do that now if you have the time. Absolutely.
Make sure it's stuff that you have the rights to.
Are we going to reiterate what happened throughout the meeting? Like,
Go
are we
ahead.
just going to reiterate like what we kind of agreed upon throughout this, or are we?
We can just do a highlight of when we finally.
We all agreed that Raven Ison should pay me reparations for offending me.
I do want to bring up another thing.
I can do like a
And
brief
Voxeron.
thing
Okay.
real quick. So that
What do you
are we
want?
ready to wrap up, guys?
Money.
Is anybody else?
I need to wash my balls. Let's go.
Hey guys, at the last meeting, we mentioned making Project Genesis a universal spawn group. Are we going to pursue that?
That sounds like a horrible idea.
I would go along
I think
with
it's a
it.
good idea, just because I'm tired of having to have like 80 billion spawn groups. I
It's
don't
time for a
have
new one.
enough.
Why do you think the Fray was made?
Yeah.
The Fray. I'm
No,
sorry.
unfortunately, the Fray is not
2013
administrated.
abused the Fray.
That's right. Not
Unfortunately,
administrative.
people don't realize that there's a mute chat option and a mute notices option in an SL group.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I hate to say it, but unfortunately, this group exists and is good because it's administrated by everyone. So that inherently makes it, because everyone's there, it inherently makes it unbiased.
Okay.
This is
Sorry,
the
it's
best I've ever
administrative.
seen us ever come together in the last like 10 years that I've been here. This
fuck
is
you, Raven.
great.
Well, we tried it the Outlands. It didn't work so well.
I don't hate anyone any less. I just recognize that this is necessary.
All right, let's
Thank
wrap
you
this
for
up because
being
I need
here,
to walk down to
everybody.
the store soon.
Nicole wanted to say
Is,
something.
is there anybody who is against making it a
I think
universal
that should be saved for next week's meeting. Actually, like we need to present
Let's think
a
about it.
logical argument for why.
Alright.
Yeah, let's think
universal spawn
about it.
group is a
I
good
could,
idea and why it's a bad idea.
Nicole wanted to say something.
If I could get somebody mentioned having propaganda.
Jeez.
If somebody could have like.
Can we stop that?
Can we not?
Somebody doesn't want him to talk.
Can we not?
Okay. Yeah. So, you guys are welcome to have propaganda here and stuff. We can either put it in the Brazil spawn, but we're limited on actual prims. We've got only 100 and something prims that we can throw around. Even if we get the new spawn.
Yeah, once we do that one camp, it won't be allowed. It'll be like 50 landing packs, so we'll have the time.
But you know, I would, if you want to have, say, more details, sim propaganda. I know, like in New Jersey, they have the little cardboard cutout things and stuff like that. I would rather put those further out in the sim. But we can talk to you guys if you want to like put up any kind of display things or shit like that, and you know, you can choose where that goes.
Okay. That's awesome. Nicole, you had something you would like to say.
Okay, so this was basically me and my mate were joking about this the other day, like I think it was like last week sometime. But it actually it's an idea that's kind of been stuck in my head. I actually have access to a secondary homestead, and the joke was basically what we wanted to do was basically make it into literally an SLMC boot camp. Basically, like teach people how LBA works, how the standard combat system, the built-in combat system of SL works, like the health system and everything.
Yeah.
How to set homes, how to use the teleporters, prim jumping, like literally have like one of Kobe's prim jumping courses to teach people. Like
That sounds
this is prim
terrible. I'm
jumping.
griefing.
New Rome also has a targeting. Well, I mean, I guess everybody does.
Yeah.
I also
I'm
have.
not. Go ahead.
I also have like this target system that I've been hooking up together, which is literally just a game that judges like accuracy and crap like that.
Yeah.
And basically the idea was just to give people like an introduction, like a controlled, quote unquote, controlled introduction to how the SLMC works and like the minor skills that you're required to actually like, you know, be a good combatant in the SLMC.
I'm going to be perfectly honest about that. While I think it's a novel idea, most of that is gathered just by walking into New Jersey and talking to people or joining a group.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's not necessarily a bad idea, and there's a lot of cool things If you'd like to discuss this with some, well, I know that you're a developer, Adonis is a developer, and some of the other developers in the community, that we can do with an experience key. Using Project Genesis, we could create a developer tag that has access to messing around with the experiences, and um, there's a lot of cool things that we can do and automate for that process. And then the thing that's nice about that is we could technically, as estate owners, allow the Project Genesis experience. I mean, this is way off. And wait, if you want to start setting up your homestead, that's awesome. There's a potentiality for us to allow that experience in multiple sims. And then there's a lot of cool things that you can do with that vehicle wise as well, that eliminate a lot of the take control requests that you can't even get around with RLV and things like that. So I can kind of outline that in a Google Doc later on and explain to you guys. IDT and I were working on it for the original Combat Continent, and then I think he was working on it again for New Jersey back when Chaos was doing the Outlands with KPC and Rodinia and a couple other groups. Because originally IDT and I were developing it side by side, and then you know, IDT disappeared, unfortunately. So
that never happens, though.
Yeah.
Hadet, were you referring to making an automated system? Because someone would have to be there to run the people all the way through. But if there was like an automated system, kind of like when you join Second Life and they put you in the nearby island,
tutorial.
Like, yeah, it would be like a tutorial island
that'd
for
be
the
that, yeah. And then you could give them they could get a link if they wanted to go through it, and they could go there and do it. And maybe there'll be somebody there to help them sometimes too. You know.
Wait, Nicole, just out of curiosity, was the other person that you were talking about, was that Farragut?
No, this is actually my mate on it. So it's you're another member of Coercion Combine, and also like the part of like the tutorials and stuff like it, like you were talking about earlier. I'm currently like in the process of working on D2 tutorials, which is the car system, vehicle system that they run on SL. But what I also had in mind was actually making like links to actual tutorial videos on like weapon usage on SLMC weapon usage, how to use like theoretical certain features you can enable, how to optimize combat, leading targets, prim jumping, like actual like turn into an actual. The idea was to turn into an actual like basic boot camp, a universal boot camp for SLV.
Personally, I think that sounds like a great idea, and I don't see why that could ever be a bad idea. I think it's just who runs it. I think it's really funny that your friend isn't Farragut, because they're Farragut, as well as I think another Roman, were talking about literally the exact same thing to me yesterday. So potentially we should get all the volunteers who want to do this, because hopefully it shouldn't be a singular group that handles it. Hopefully we could have people across all groups get together for this project and accomplish that. I think that would be a great idea.
Did you hear me say YouTube video?
Yeah,
I said-
YouTube videos.
Yeah, that'd be great. How would we go about doing that in collaboration with each other, or one person would make it?
Who wants to organize it? Who's gonna put up land? Because I think that's gonna dictate who to go to as far as that.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
the reasoning why I was gonna do this is basically it wasn't just for my thing to control. I was gonna I own the sim. Like yes, I own the rights to the sim. Yada yada blah blah
So
blah.
you have
but
already.
The fact of the matter is, I'm giving. Yeah, I have this. I have access to that sim. I just haven't reactivated it yet because it's kind of pointless me owning it. But it's on lockdown for now. And the idea was basically it's a homestead, so it's not a lot of trims to play with, but it's enough to actually do what I have in mind. And the idea was basically, I'm not going to control everything. Like, I will control certain aspects, but the idea was to give the control to, like Adet said earlier, give control to Genesis techs, such as techs and scripters and moderators. Basically, I hate to use the term SLMC veterans, but basically people that know what the hell they're doing. Give them access to the sim, give them state rights to that sim, and we all integrate to actually make this sim come alive. And once it's running and active, everybody shares a tiny amount of responsibility with the group. We keep communications and keep it running.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do right now to make sure that this concept doesn't get lost like a lot of them do. I see your IMs. I'm getting IMs from people right now who are saying they would be interested in that project. People who are content creators and organizers. I'm gonna create a group right now in Second Life. and I'm going to put all of you in this group, and you guys should talk to each other and absolutely and see what you can do, see what everybody can offer, and then just see how far we can get as soon as possible.
I thoroughly recommend not creating another group, waiting it out for a little bit, setting up a group tag within the Genesis group itself. I know that creating another group might make communication a little easier from these people, but that's another group we all have to join right now.
Yeah.
No. Nobody has to join except the actual people who are creating it. And I think honestly, it is necessary for those specific people to get together and communicate.
I don't, because I mean, I would be willing to help out and stuff,
don't
but
have
I
any,
don't have any extra groups.
Yeah, I have all 60 of mine filled. And
Holy
there's nothing I can
shit.
leave.
Well, that kind of goes with what we were saying before. Like, we might want to restrict chat in the Genesis group. Why not just like make a developer tag
Restrict
and
chat to
alleviate?
people that aren't administrators and developers.
Yeah.
If you just have chat available to administrators and developers, then it alleviates the problem, and then we only have the one group.
Okay, so I see what you're suggesting. I'll create a role that'll basically be Project Genesis combat, tutorial crew, and then they can have access to group chat and they can use it for their own purposes. Okay. I'll do that
Okay,
right
now
now.
let's talk about a real issue here, and I know Hadet's been thinking the same thing. But
And before Dark Sleepers
Don't
troll, let me
start.
just
when are
intervene
we
and
going?
say,
No.
please contact me if you want to be a part of the combat tutorial thing. Please contact me now, if
We
you
can
haven't
send out a
already,
notice
and
about
I can do that too. That's fucking smart. All right, carry on.
Okay, like I was saying before, this slut interrupted me. Okay, and I know Hadet's been thinking about the same thing, but when are we going to prohibit furries from the SL military community and
Someday,
enforce
Doug.
human
Someday
rights?
the long war will be over.
I have an actual question.
No more pygmies. No more pygmies.
What's doxing?
Get out.
Get out.
Get
Get
out.
out.
You never want
Get the fuck out.
I really want to know what doxing is.
All right. Are we done with that?
That's what some fucking skinhead punks do
All
for
right,
boots.
All right, we're done. We're done. All right, it's good. I will release in the YouTube video description. I will do an overview.
What is sim crashing?
Yeah.
How do I crash
what
sim,
was discussed.
please?
What is Torley Extreme?
The Torley Extreme is the most wonderful thing ever made.
So is it okay if I put on the Gigas 2 and just walk into your sim?
I don't care. Nobody's doing anything in there right now.
Yeah, it's blank sim.
Okay, so guys, I know
Unban
that
Proteus from New Jersey. Proteus did nothing wrong.
This isn't the fray, please.
All right. So,
Unban
Pyro,
Proteus.
are you done streaming?
I can be.
All right. Yeah, we're done.
Fine.